Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. So, welcome to the webinar of machine learning and its use cases that we are going to be talking about in this session. So, I'll quickly introduce myself. This is Bhagya, and I am with Credit Suisse. Working with the reporting and analytics team from Asia within the risk and finance IT organization, managing the reporting and analytics deliveries, in which machine learning is also a part of it. So I have a number of years of experience in managing the various data warehousing and business intelligence applications all across. And currently, I'm leading the some of the machine learning initiatives from India for the group and for the bank. I also have my colleague Vishal, with me, who will be taking us through some of the demos on the work that we have done on the machine learning in the later part of the webinar. So which would then be helpful to you in terms of what we have done in this space so far. So during this webinar, I'll be taking you through some of the concepts of machine learning and also what we have attempted and share our experiences on what we have gained so far and show you, some of the practical, demos of what we have done in this space. So moving on, just wanted to give, set a context on this topic to all the, all the attendees, just to bring everyone on the same page. What is machine learning? So we have different definitions, across the, across the world, globe, industry in terms of what is machine learning. Machine learning is, definition-wise, it's very simple. We are going to teach the computers. We are going to train the computers to carry out some of the tasks by themselves with the help of models and algorithms that they can learn from with the data that we supply to them. And once they're trained, they'll be able to help us predict and then be able to take the decisions on the data that we supply. So what it essentially means is we're trying to mimic, the human behavior within the machines in order for us to help us with the, the huge automation side of things. So what it means, machines think, and we are making the machines to think. So that simply put is what is machine learning, right? As a definition. Um, so let's dig deeper into it, right? So how do I explain this before I get deeper into the concepts of the modeling, the algorithms, the the data cleansing process, and so on and so forth? Before I take you through the deepest concepts of machine learning, let me give you a simple example, right? When we say Apple, what do we mean by Apple? What comes to our mind when we say that apple, right? So it's a fruit. It's a logo of one of the famous phone manufacturer. Then it also has a different flavor and colors, right? So which means there's a number of features that are associated. There are a number of types that are associated, and there are various features that are associated with when we talk about a subject, right? In this case, it is Apple, right? This is just to give you an idea of why I'm talking about it. In the next slides, I will explain to you as to what we really mean by features and why this is important for us to understand. So I'll give you a simple, workflow example. So now I get more technical and more mathematical about the subject, right? Because we are talking about machine learning, so we have to get deeper into it, right? So we will, as I said, we are going to train the machines, and thereby the machines are going to help us predict and prescribe, right? So how do we train it? We will provide certain set of inputs. We will provide certain set of variables. We will try to extract the features out of the, based on the inputs, and then we will supply the necessary algorithms for it to be working on the, on the inputs and the features, and then we will then be able to train, right? Which initially we will train it with the supervision, and then we will slowly go with the unsupervision, right? So once it is trained, then the machine will help us to predict, right? What are the answers that we are looking for. Even if it's binary, even if it's qualitative information, quantitative information, all those prediction will happen with the variety of models that we have. There's number of algorithms, number of statistical models that we have, which we will not be able to cover all of it, but we'll give you some sample of it as to what we have attempted. Right. So this is just a sample of workflow, what happens within behind the scene, within the machine learning. Right. So before I take you to the some of the use cases that we have tried, and we will go deeper into that use cases along with the demo. What are the real world examples? There is plenty of them, right? The world is moving towards AI and robotics and machine learning, right? Machine learning is obviously a subset of artificial intelligence. So we have applications like Siri. We have Kensho, which is a financial company that is using machine learning to predict the performance of their investments. AlphaGo, so which is the program which is for the gaming, right? So it uses the deep learning technology to teach itself as to how to win the games, right? So there's I can't fit all the examples in a single slide, but there's plenty of them in what's happening within the AI and the robotic space. Where is Credit Suisse exploring? Credit Suisse also exploring in various areas, be it looking at our email and inbox management using machine learning, looking at our sentimental analysis of the scenarios, looking at our knowledge base for environment management, looking at the some of the robotic automation of some of the processes that we have, some of the adjustments process. So there's various use cases that even Credit Suisse is venturing into with these technologies. This is just an example to apprise you about what's happening outside the industry and within the firm, right? So what are we trying to solve using machine learning? You can solve various things, right? There's plenty of use cases, plenty of problems that we can solve using machine learning. There isn't any dearth to the problems that we can solve using machine learning, but how are we going to solve it, right? So the use case that we have that we are going to dig deeper into this webinar is mainly around the email and inbox management and email analytics, which is essentially using text analytics and slowly getting into image analytics. So we're going to be talking about a number of things in this webinar. So generally the teams are managing large number of emails, right, as part of their process. So what is going to be useful using the machine learning to solve is to see how I can use a machine learning model to summarize such information, whereas behind the scene all the processes happen, and that would provide a significant time saving for the business, right? So I'll actually go take you through the various business use cases that we have attempted to solve and we have managed to solve. So this will also help identify the opportunities for the leadership and for the teams to see how we can operationally, organizationally improve and become more efficient, right? So it's essentially the text analytics, and the unstructured text analytics is what we are talking about. So so we've tried to attempt two different places, email analytics and thereby the communication discovery, right? Just given you a high level, a flow of what we have done. Before we get deeper into this, the major problem that, based on our experience that we have seen is, how do I identify the use cases? What do I solve? I know there are various problems to solve. How do I solve them? What are the use cases? And how do I narrow down the use cases to be able to be solved by machine learning? Right. So here are some examples, especially around the email analytics and inbox management. So if you can classify the emails based on the supervised and unsupervised models, then you have a use case to solve. If you can do a sentimental analysis on the content of the emails, then there is something that you can do with the machine learning. If you can also visualize the relationship between the various senders and receivers of the emails, then there is something that is possibly that you can do with machine learning. If you can mine the URLs of the content that is coming alongside your emails, then there is something that you can do. If you can view the the top groups who are actually filling your inbox, right? Who are the top groups of the emails that are getting filled? If you can contextualize the subjects, right? Because you have thousands and thousands of emails that are coming into your inbox. If you can contextualize them, if the machine can contextualize the subject, right? If you can also identify what is the unwanted or the lesser priority communication, such as, the ones that are CC to you, the ones that are, not really need to be addressed by you immediately, and so on and so forth. If you can also identify the, the over usage of your Outlook, is it really required? Does it have to be done over the emails? Is it something that we can do differently using the other collaborative tools? Then there is opportunity for machine learning to play a part. If you're able to identify, if you're in a financial organization, if you're able to, and if you're managing risks of the organization, will you be able to identify the key risk and the key stakeholders by just looking at the the summarized view of the information after the machine has processed all the information, right? If you can improve the relationship and communication using the sentimental analysis bit as to who's saying whom to what, right, and how are they saying it, right? Can I make something out of that relationship? And if you can identify and flash out the hidden information, the facts that are actually going to be if you are able to identify the subject and context that requires escalation and immediate attention because it gets buried into the number of text that is already in the emails. If you can differentiate the transactional and non-transactional emails which are to be addressed. And finally, if you have a dashboard that is sitting on top of your inbox every morning that can tell you that what you have to do and what the actions that you have to take care. So these are some of the samples that you can think of as the use cases. We will go deep into our technology stack and the framework, right? So again, machine learning as it stands, complex. It is complex. There's nothing to deny over there. It has a lot of components. It has a lot of areas to be addressed before we finally present an outcome, an output to the stakeholders. So it has a data sourcing part. It has a processing part. It has a key part which is modeling and the algorithms, and it has finally a visualization part as well, right? So we have the data extraction, ingestion, cleansing. The data cleansing. When I'm talking about unstructured data, I'm really talking about a free form text that is being entered by some people, right? Which means there's so much that to be done to cleanse the data before even we make any sense out of it, right? We use a lot of methodologies. We use a lot of technical processes to clean the data, such as stemming, aliasing, chunking, lemmatization. These are just samples. We do number of them, and we use various modeling and algorithms. This case we have used Python. We have majorly used Python, the NLTK suite of Python, and some of the Stanford models, the NLP models. The samples are given here. So we have attempted classification, dimensionality reduction, clustering, sentimental analysis, and regression, and so on and so forth. Then finally, we have visualized using some of these visualization technologies that you can see, which is Tableau, Zango, and others. We've also attempted now, we're attempting to, see how some of these visualizations can integrate with the, the machine learning technologies such as Python and R, say, for example, TabPy and RServe using Tableau. So what have we really done using this machine learning, and how do we go about it? If one wants to do it, what is it they have to be doing, right, as a sample? This is just a sample. There's much more to it. As I said, it has a lot more than what I'm just presenting. So we poll the emails in the context of the emails and the inbox management. This is in the context of the emails and the inbox management that I'm referring to. We poll the new emails, meetings from the Outlook. We extract them. So we have extracted them through the the Com32 MAPI interface. Then we have ingested the data via MongoDB. That's the data extraction process. Then we are cleansing the data. So we have multiple phases of data cleansing. As I said, the data cleansing takes 60 to 70% of the time, as opposed to the rest of the activities within this process. So we do. So we actually do, data cleansing using stop words, punctuations, elimination, and then we do it in multiple phases, right? Then once we are done with the data cleansing, we build a dictionary because we have to be scoring using some of our algorithms on the sentiments of the data. So initially we started with our English dictionary. Now we have a financial dictionary because that's the language that the emails and the text that understands within the organization. Then we come to the modeling bit of it. So we used supervised and unsupervised learning with PCA. Then we use clustering, and then we used unsupervised via k-means. Then we do the subject to context mapping using based on the frequency distribution and the model training with the training data set. We also have done the predictions using the test data, using the random forest model. And we've also created the exceptions because not all the times we will be able to capture the context. Some of them will get into unclear context until we are able to supervise the data, right? So what's our focus? Okay, so so this is the focus is, as I said, around the data storage, then the data processing, and then the model and the visualization. So we've also attempted a number of use cases within the organization. So using the text, not just the email analytics. Once we have built the framework, now we have built the framework. We are trying to use and apply this to a number of use cases within the organization. So we are trying to see how we can look at the commentary that is being accumulated and aggregated day on day using the emails. How different teams are able to process the information. How can we apply machine learning to really see how we can put the rule-based algorithms, which will then be able to collate the queries and responses. And then the emails also contains images, not just the text, right? So we are trying to see how we can process those images and convert them into text so that the information can be clearly captured, and then be able to auto trigger for the responses for the non-responses that will be developed. Then we are preparing the data and populating the dashboard with key metrics, right? So again, there's, as I said, the number of use cases that we are attempting. We're also attempting a workflow use case because that's more around the text. We have sequential tasks that are being done through a workflow application, how we have the automated workflow which can integrate the system with the data that can potentially find out the optimization efficiencies in terms of how we can make the information pre-available for a task, and then how we can provide the guidance on the ETA and etc. Right. So hope this is so this is some of the use cases. Again, the primary one being the inbox management, the email analytics. We will quickly show you a demo on what we have done and what all the things that we were able to achieve using this. So my colleague Vishal will be taking you through the demo part of it now, for you to be seeing what is that we have done using machine learning on the email analytics. So we have some questions that I can see in the question sections. After training a machine learning algorithm, is there any reason why it will not fail in one unique case? Again, there is no reason why it will not fail. It might fail, and that's why it is classified as supervised and unsupervised, right? And the time we reach the unsupervised is when the algorithms and the modeling is getting more experienced, right? I should say, in terms of its data, in terms of its accuracy. But again, this is not going to, there isn't going to be it is only measured using the accuracy. It is not measured as a perfect binary answer, because we only get better at by training the models by pumping more and more data. So there may be cases where it would fail, and we just have to provide the appropriate data for it to succeed, and hence thereby improve the accuracy of it. Any global forums on machine learning which Credit Suisse is part of or sponsored to? Yes, there are, where we are part of some of the initiatives which are globally, worldwide happening. There's a lot of so Credit Suisse is part of the fintech and startups various other companies that they're part of in terms of providing and taking the solutions on. As a beginner, how do I get started in ML? Vishal, do you want to address that?
Yes, Bhagya. As a beginner, we can go a couple of sites like Python, Scikit, Learn. We can use for programming purpose as well as we can read. Like it totally depends. If you're going for a text analytics, then you probably need to learn the natural language processing. If you're purely going on the prediction side, then probably you have to read more about the statistics and probability side of courses for linear understanding linear regression and logistic regression as such.
Yeah. So do you want to continue with the questions?
Yeah, sure. For ML, which language is better? Is it Python or R? Both the languages have their ups and downs. Like we have used both Python and R. In terms of performance and the language which is supported within our organization for production environment is Python, as it has more support and we found it to be more scalable in terms of the computation and accuracy figures. I'm talking more on the machine learning aspect. I'm not talking mainly on the statistical application. So for machine learning, when we have to handle a large amount of data, we found that Python is doing better than R. So that's why we are using Python within Credit Suisse for machine learning algorithms.
So how to apply a particular algorithm for a particular classification or regression clustering and so on?
That's totally like it depends on the data which we are dealing totally. So suppose if we are going to classify in only two classes, there are multiple options which can help us in classification, like normal linear regression, logistic regression can help us in classifying a two class labeling, like suppose true or false or positive or negative sentiments, or positive or negative classification. But when we move to a multi-class, high dimensional, multi-level dimension classification, then these basic classification algorithm lose the accuracy. So to classify onto the multi-class, multi-level classification, we need algorithm like random forest, which will have multiple dimensions to judge the features of the token, as well as support vector machine, which do not lose the accuracy even on the higher dimensional and multi-class environment. How do you decide which algorithm to be used? In case of text analysis, we mainly have the problem related to classification and clustering. For classification, mainly we use supervised machine learning, and in supervised machine learning, we have couple of algorithms like support vector machine, linear regression, Naive-Bayes classifiers, and random forest. So we have evaluated each and every model on our test data and training data, and based on the accuracy, by tweaking the hyperparameters present within the uh, models and algorithms, we came to the accuracy score. And wherever like we are getting a better score and scalability option, we chose that particular model. For unsupervised machine learning, we basically have a clustering problem to solve in text analysis. So for that, we are using k-mean algorithm, and to label them. On top of that, we are using LDA or random forest approach. What project do you think should a beginner start with? For a beginner, the first problem I think the beginner can use, like the Hello World program, would be to extract the data from Twitter and can like analyze the data for maybe the positive and negative side of the tweets which user does and on what entities they are doing. I think they can, for a beginner, they can use this approach.
So I think we have, that's all the questions. Way to develop ML-based applications. So we have, so again, you can start based on the, you can start with your personal laptop. You can install the necessary software. If you're going to try in R, if you're going to try in Python, there's, all the, softwares are very much available now. You just have to start installing them and start using the Hello World program, that just as Vishal described, and then start getting your hands into it.
Yeah, there is one more question, like Credit Suisse is a financial service company. Can you tell me any use case related to finance in detail? Okay, so in terms of like financial space, even analyzing news data is very important because news can directly impact the stock pricing and the portfolio of the end user. So text analysis can be used to gather all these news across the globe from the good sources like Bloomberg and Reuters, and analyze those news, get the sentiment out of the news, and find out the key entities which are going to be impacted using these news. And we can explore the scenarios based on the news, and that can directly be mapped to the portfolio of the end user. So that is one of the very high level use case which is being implemented in Credit Suisse using machine learning.
So hope we have covered all the questions. Vishal, is there any question that
Yeah, I'm going
we
to
have
Bhavya.
not covered?
The next question, the question is, what is the data size for this use case, or how old are the emails? As machine learning algorithms work best with historic data, what are your future plans for data consolidation and extraction? So for the data size perspective, we have around 1,000-2,000 labeled emails on which we have trained our model. And once the model training is done, it's like an online model which can be trained iteratively. So suppose if we are not able to classify the email properly, it will go as unclassified, and a subject matter expert will come into the picture and will classify the email. So it can be an additional classification, or it will be fall into the existing buckets, and the system goes on. So and the next question is like, how old are the emails? The emails which we are using is like one year old, and it's keep on adding into the training set, as any email which maps to the unclassified category will go into the training set. So we started with 1 year old data, and it's keep on growing based on the unclassified context. And what are your future plans for data consolidation and extraction? The future step is to leverage the big data and big data frameworks and hardwares to keep the data into the like SDFS, and do the processing using Spark by running the Python H2O libraries on top of Spark and showcasing the output to the visualization layer.
Yep. Thanks, Vishal. I think we have fairly able to cover most of the questions. If there are questions that are unanswered, we will get back to you with the answers. Thank you very much for listening into this webinar. Hope it was, useful on the use cases that Credit Suisse has attempted on the machine learning. We'll be more than happy to provide the answers for the questions that are left unanswered. Thanks once again for listening in. Thank you, Vishal. Thanks, team.